How's it going, YouTube? In this video we have myself playing X-Antibody going up against Cherubimon. Cherubimon is a pretty cool deck. It kind of fell out of flavor, I think. People were more excited about it before. Now it's still there, it's still pretty good. It's just not as popular, or I guess talked about. We're gonna see Bushiagumon start and Bokumon picking up Hybrid and Tamer, which is pretty good. Also, I hope the glare isn't too bad in this video, but we'll see. We have Chumon and then Coda. It's a good way to start, you know, memory choke. Having the memory tamer early on is a big deal. Opponent could try and go aggressive here. Bushi's definitely swinging it into a Dark Tyranno. And then probably just set up his own tamer, right? He does have the mat, but no purple cards to pick up. We promote. I might just be, you know, trying to find pieces. So we go into a second stack. I think the idea here is that, you know, while the Bokumon is out, having the Chumon could actually be quite crucial in this matchup. There's a bunch of ways that purple can gain memory, you know, Bokumon is one of them, but there's also other inheritables and things like that. So maybe we'll just leave the Chumon out and we'll do another stack. It might also just be like, we need to cycle and try and build, you know, in the back again, but we'll see. He goes into a Koichi, gets to draw a discard. Actually has drawn a bunch of yellow rookies based on his discard, right? Goes into the Loimon. Okay, looks like we don't have another rookie, but we can, you know, go into the Dorgray. Dorgray, if we use the effect, could get that nice protection against the Swartlasar. Problem is that we don't have the baby, so it's actually a big deal because we don't get the cycle on the putting the card under it. That said, though, we are able to go straight into the Dorgramon, which is pretty good because the Cherubi deck doesn't really have a way to clear it. There's no, like, you know, trumps or anything like that. I don't think they play any fly bullets. The standard builds don't, right? So hand level 6 feels pretty good. And then we have Chumon to back it up and at least slow down the Bokumon. Rihimon is pretty good though. Rihimon's gonna swing at security. We hit another Coda. Are not able to pick up a rookie, and we already have level 6, but you know, we take a second one. Definitely gonna be hurting if we can't get another rookie in the back, I think. He's gonna Death Cloud to get the Chumon off the board. He's able to get the memory and get the Koichi cycle again. Pretty strong, you know, Rihimon is pretty good. All the level 5 hybrids that are like Digible for 1, they're great cards, right? Like they all have insane effects. I feel like Jetsilf is the best one by far, but you know, the other ones are still pretty good. I mean, our boy Beowulf is good. So he's able to go into the hybrid. Now this hybrid can't attack, but he was able to get the Boku memory right away. At this point, those rookies are gonna die if I'm able to swing next turn. So it makes sense that he would just start swinging and guarantee his damage. The Boku survives anyway. Black memory boost is kind of nice. It gives us more to work with. The problem here is that we don't have a second stack in the back, and his Dorgreymon was not. He wasn't built with the baby, which actually is a big deal, right? It makes his effect a bit worse as we don't get the cycle, and he's missing one source, so you know, we're not able to clear as much as we usually could maybe. So we're off to a pretty rough start, I would say. Like, all he's really done is, you know, okay, so the reinforced memory gives us a lot of memory to work with. It gives him memory to work with. Also funny, he could have only cast that if the Salomon lived in security. If Salomon had died, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So I wonder what his play would have been instead. But since we do have memory to work with, we can start punching, clear both the rookies at least. The punch is going to use the blocker next turn. And I think the idea here is that we push for 3 damage so that next turn we can hit for 3 damage again. And then have ideally one more hit to close the game out. Whether that's the rookie in the back or a hybrid. Hopefully we find one or the other. So I'm gonna Coda, see if we can pick up another rookie. Or a rookie. We don't hit a rookie. So I'm desperately looking for a rookie. And then we have the Brave Metal to clear. He's gonna tap the Mimi, get the additional memory. We at least fully clear the board. We punch 3 damage, and then we have a blocker set up. So the idea here is that, you know, we could do 3 more damage next turn. And like I said, hopefully we either had a rookie, which I didn't, or we maybe have a hybrid to close the game out. So not the greatest start. He was very aggressive with the rookies, getting good value out of them. And my Chumon ended up not doing anything at all, right? Maybe valuing the Chumon there was a mistake. It could be super relevant, and it was not. He's gonna start building again. So, you know, he does have memory to work with from the Reinforce and Tamers as well. We only have one security, so double hybrid would potentially end me. We do have the blocker in the Dorogora, which is good. But it is susceptible to the retaliation from the Kaiser Leo, so it's kind of scary. When thinking about, you know, how he's gonna deal with this. So he swings with the Loey that doesn't have retaliation, and we let it go, hoping that we might, you know, hit something good in security. If I block that, then I die to the retaliation. But maybe that would have been better, because I'm forced to block this anyway. Goes into the Rihi, who's gonna keep the retaliation. The Rihi there is good because it only costs him 1 memory, but it lets him bring back a 4-cost Tamer, right? So you could see like why the Rihimon is so good and why those level 5 Harvests are so insane in general. Like, you pay 1 memory for them, but if you think about it, the effect that you get is usually it's worth significantly more than 1 memory. And in this case, because he's Cherubi and he plays the Analog Youth, he even gets that 1 memory right back anyway. Now this Loey can't attack as the mat was played this turn, but I think at this point it's just about setting multiple bodies for next turn lethal. You know, with the Rihi on the board, the Sal in the back, and additional Tamer, there's just no way that we could make that come back. So that's going to be game number 1 going to Cherubi. I think the biggest issue for me that game was not having additional rookies. You know, there's games where you don't open a rookie and those feel terrible for sure. But I'm sure we've all played games where we get a rookie at the start of the game and then we just never see a rookie again, right? Which is what happened to me that game. But it happens. The Salmon, if it had done insecure and he couldn't play Reinforced, I'm curious, you know, what he would have done instead. But to be honest, we weren't in the greatest position anyway. And him having the Kaiser Leo to force us to block, pretty good play as well. And honestly, he just got good value out of the rookies. Like, all the yellow rookies were able to pressure. And then the Boko, I wasn't able to stop. He still got the memory at the end of the day. The Chumon wasn't doing enough. Sometimes when you play these decks that have 2 colors, like, you might just whiff, because like he's not playing 14 yellow rookies, I promise you. But you know, he was able to get all the rookies. In fact, he had too many yellow rookies, and honestly, it was pretty good for him. So now we're going into game 2 here. Choosing to go second. He's gonna mulligan. I gotta give a shout out to those leaves. They were Mason. I figured that YouTube might ask, like, yo, where'd he get those leaves? And I asked him, and I believe he said they were the, I might butcher the name. It's the Amanda La Palme. I don't know if that's the correct way to say the name, but I'm sure you guys know who that is. Okay, so he Blinding Rays and then plays a mat. So it's a way for him to get a memory Tamer out, memory choke me, and pick up a card from a security if it was purple, which it was. So maybe he didn't have the greatest opener, but that was actually a good play. That said though, we did have a good answer myself since I did have rookie and champion. And then we can set up the memory boost to finer pieces. We're able to pick up, I believe, the level 6 there. So in the previous games, he got a lot of mileage out of just the rookies swinging. We'll see if he's going to continue that aggression. In a deck like this where your rookies can't ever Digivolve, like, realistically that's all they are, right? But I mean, it's still pretty good, right? You spend Seer on the rookie, you get the 1 damage, plus you're drawing cards. And then they have, you know, extra synergy later on if you bring him back. He doesn't attack with the Bushi. Perhaps he doesn't want to hit into a Coda or something like that. But I'm not sure. I feel like it might be the play. He's able to only give me 2 memory to work with, which is a big deal. Because, you know, if he had given me 3, with 5 memory we can go into the Dorugurumon because of the Dorumon. So putting me to 2 instead of 3 is actually a huge difference there. And I wonder if he was, you know, aware of that. So we just make the full stack. We're prepared to take some chip damage here. But this is like exactly where X-Antibody wants to be. We have our boss monster. He's got a good stack. We're going to be able to push a lot of damage. And clear the board, at least the little guys. Hopefully this time around we have another rookie in the back to be able to close the game out after. Goes into the Kaiser Leo. Swings. At this point it doesn't really matter because we're going to be able to, you know, delete play cost 6 or less next turn. I think he's taking the correct approach and just going kind of aggro. The Alpha Mode doesn't actually stop any attacks, but it does go to hand, which could matter. At the very worst, it's another source we can put under the Doro. Goes into a Kaiser to pass. Maybe he was fishing for a Rihimon, but he wasn't able to find it. Memory Choke Miyamon is pretty good, but we do have another rookie to work with. And we also have Dormon. Dormon is insane. Gives us extra memory to work with, and he gets 1 memory on deletion, but it's fine. We're checking for 2, and he had taken 1 damage from the Blinding. So the idea here is that, you know, we check for 2, next turn we check for 2 again, and then Chumon will close the game out. He has no Tamers, really nothing at this point, and that's going to be game 2 going to us. So that game was a good example of how X-Antibody kind of wants to play, right? We're able to build a good chain, and like 1 good level 6 with Strong Inheritables can close the game out. Our opponent still had good plays, you know. The Blinding on turn 1 was maybe crazy, but it actually worked out so well. It was actually a pretty juicy play. I think he was just missing the Rihi, right? If he had a Rihi instead of the Kaiser Leo, it would have made a massive difference, because then the Doro wouldn't be able to pop with the effect, and then it would have Retaliation, I believe, plus give him the Tamer back, which, you know, at the end he didn't have Tamers. So not having the Rihi, absolutely crucial for him. And we had pretty solid start. The Black Mirror Wrist is pretty good in this deck, you know, finding the pieces we need, and then giving me the memory to go into the level 6. Now we're going into the game 3. We're probably gonna start, yep. Hey, there's a Chumon. So one thing that's interesting about the X-Antibody deck now is that there's not a ton of X-Antibody cards. So we get to play all these filler cards that are still pretty good, you know, like Chumon for example. Now as we get other X-Antibody rookies in the Ryudomon, like those cards have to get cut. And it's better for the consistency of the deck overall. But, you know, while we get to use Chumon and like Chikurimon, Toyagumon, like those are good cards. Doro Greymon there is absolutely insane. Because of the Doromon, we essentially Digimon into it for 2. And then his effects can give him protection, so we can clear it with the option. We're kind of just turboing out, which is exactly what we want to do. Coming out early with the Doro Grey is correct because we spend 1 less memory. And as soon as we go into this 6, his deck really has no way to answer it. Now this time around, our level 6 is going to be Alphamon. And it seems like, you know, he can just once again go to the rookie aggression that he's had. The Alphamon doesn't have the board clear when she swings, but instead she'll give us extra memory to work with, which is still pretty good. They're just good in different ways, but I do love Alphamon. And as we get more X-Antibodies in the future, you know, Alphamon definitely becomes the boss Digimon for the deck. And later on we get a new Alphamon as well, but I'm super looking forward to BT8 for X-Antibody support. Let me know how you guys feel about the deck in BT8 and, you know, if you guys are excited for that. Okay, so this is pretty solid. We have an Alphamon, I'm a 3 memory, we have Chumon. I'd say we're in a pretty good spot. Alphamon's gonna be checking for 2. I believe she's at 12,000 right now. His deck does play multiple Cherubis though, so when I swing, I think paying 1 memory to be above 12k and not that of Cherubi is probably correct, which is what I do. Now, it is 2 checks. First check, it's an Analog Boy, which is, you know, not the worst, give some pieces. The second check being a mat is actually atrociously bad for me. So we checked into 2 Tamers, which is obviously bad. But the reason the mat is really bad is because what I wanted to do this turn was go into a Sword Defeat, popping his mat, and then memory choking him. Now that he's hit the second mat, the memory choking is not possible. I still go into a Sword Defeat, but, you know, it's infinitely, and I really mean infinitely worse, right? Because imagine if we had done this and then put him to 1, I feel like we'd be in a great spot. Since we have to pass over a bunch of memory, I'm at least able to build up into another level 5. You know, we have Sword Defeat, which is going to lose access to all the inheritables, which kind of sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. It also could die to retaliation shenanigans, but then we at least get to clear something else. Salomon, being a pretty good rookie, getting that healing. Super relevant for sure, making it much harder for me to clear the game. And again, him getting 2 Tamers on the first security checks were pretty good for sure. Cubemon gonna be swinging, but he misordered his trigger, so he doesn't get the Upamon there. If he swung with Cubemon first, he would have gotten, you know, double Upa, but hey, be like that. It's still not the worst spot for us. I don't have a memory tamer myself, so if he had checked into 1 as security, it would be insanely good for me, as you can guarantee another level 6 next turn. But sadly, that's not the case. In fact, we had 2 of the big doors in the security, which means that it's unlikely I'd actually have another one in my hand, right? He's able to keep the tamers. You know, Digimon again, just so strong. Funny enough, obviously it's a Cherubi deck. I don't believe he's gone into Cherubi at all this entire set. And I guess a lot of times you don't really need it, right? Which is cool. It shows you like how strong the 4 and 5s are for purple. I mean, the Kaiserly Retaliation is okay. The Koji and Herbal is really good. And then the Digimon. Digimon is, again, just a fantastic card. And the yellow rookies, while not doing anything extraordinary, like, they're just rushing me down, right? Okay, so he's gonna go to a Lowy. You know, just keep that pressure. Keep recycling these Digimons. Brings into a Doru. Again, you know, we really needed a Coda in security, I think. It would have made a massive difference. Hasn't really been anything great in my security. And he's able to just keep getting the chip damage. It's able to memory choke me to 1. And it's rough because he has the Kari as well. So if I choose to go aggressive, he gets to, you know, gain a memory. And then if we swing over the Rihi, I believe he gets a memory on top of that. But I mean, I have to clear, right? Because we're dying. He gets to play Matt for free anyway to now guarantee that he's not going to get memory choked. But it's kind of a lose-lose because if I don't clear the Rihi, then that's another body and he has the free swing anyway, right? Maybe it was correct to just not clear it. At least we have a rookie. We're able to build in the back and set up a memory boost to have place to work with next turn. Because there were 2 Luxes in my security, you know, we just didn't have another one to work with right away. But memory boost means that next turn we could potentially go memory boost level 6. And then we still have swings to work with. But he's got a bunch of memory to work with. Blinding Ray. I only have 1 security. He's got multiple purple tamers. And now going into the Rihi. But it's just as simple as hybrid. And that's going to be game 3 going to the Cherubi. Some nice back and forth. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.